Hello, hello. What is up, guys? It is me, Beanie, and I'm here. What's going on? I'm doing all right. Hope you guys are doing good. Memorial Day is coming up. You guys into the picnics and all that good stuff? Let me think. Let's do housekeeping real quick, and we're going to try to jump into it because I'm on my lunch break. I wasn't planning on doing this video, but I got a really super long email over the weekend, and I just feel like it's worth a video response. So, hello to my new subscribers. My name is Beanie. This is my channel where we talk about my shitty dentures, morbid obesity, anxiety, depression, and I do have ADD. So what does that mean for you as a viewer? It means I talk a lot, I talk fast, I say I look up, and sometimes it doesn't sound like I have anything well thought out, and I don't. Because I don't do that. That's why it's called Beanie Unscripted. I just come on here and I make videos. A lot of times it's just to help myself talk through things. And the other part is I'm always hoping that I'm helping somebody by talking about my stuff. They can see little bits and pieces and walk away with feeling that, you know, maybe they resonate with it, maybe they identify with it, or maybe I just make you laugh and then you're fine. So it's good. Let's see. This is a hobby channel. Okay, so you're not getting pretty content. There's tons of channels that are going to do that pretty content. They're going to do all that good stuff for you. It's not Beanie. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. And this is not my job. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a hobby. I have a job that I get paid for. So, you know, just put that, take that for what it is. Okay. And if you guys see me looking around, even though I'm on lunch, I'm still looking at emails. So, I received an email over the weekend. It was a really lengthy email, which is a lot for someone like me, like to have to absorb. So I had to take, like, I think I got it Friday night. I had to like read through it twice to make sure that I was understanding all of it. And I'm not going to read it all out because I think that in itself is going to take 20 minutes. In a nutshell, this person that reached out to me, who I don't think is a subscriber, if they are, I can't see that they're a subscriber. They reached out to me. This is my assumption. They reached out to me after this situation happened to them. Then they probably went home, got on social media looking for further validation, further information, and then probably found my channel and then reached out to me. That's what I'm assuming. Okay. I don't know. I haven't talked to this person yet. So they, in a nutshell, went to a dental practice that was basically referred by another social media content creator. And I'm not going to get into what platform they're on or who they are, because honestly, I don't have a dog in that fight. What other people do on their channels to, you know, put out content and why they put out content, it's not my business. I don't care. You know, everybody does. It's a very big world. Social media is a very big place. And why everyone is here is for different reasons. So I'm going to try to not, give any identifying markers to this person. So don't, like, let's not go in the weeds on that. But anyways, the social media content creator, I guess, has a working relationship or had a working relationship with this dentist and was promoting this dental practice. And ultimately, this person who reached out to me decided to visit this practice. What I'm getting from the email was this person who reached out to me kind of built up in their head what the expectation of going to this office was going to be like. Like, I'm reading this email, and I'm hoping they're seeing this video. Like, I'm reading the email, and I'm like, I already know where this is going. Like, I can tell you, without getting to the bottom of this email, what's happening here. And already, like, my blood is like, I don't really want to read this, because I already know what's happening. But, okay. So, they had it built up in their head, a level of expectation of going to this dental practice, and looked on the reviews and, you know, A, B, C, and D, and gets to the office, was not happy with the office staff, wasn't happy with how dismissive they were, a lot of the things that they said could have been applied to going to someplace like Aspen Dental or Affordable Dentures. Straight up. If I would have taken out the name of the dental practice and taken out the fact that it was a private dental practice and just read the rest of it, you would have assumed that it was an Aspen Dental type of situation, which it wasn't. And they go through the whole intake. They don't like the office staff. They do the x-rays. Then they go to sit down, and she thinks that they're going to go talk to the dentist. And instead, they send in a hygienist. The hygienist gives them a complimentary cleaning. So I'm reading this, and I'm like, a compliment? You're there for dentures, right? You're there for dentures. And you're getting a complimentary cleaning on what? Your nubs? I know when I had nubs, I didn't want nobody touching my mouth. My mouth was full of infection. So this person does not stop the hygienist and say, well, I'm here for dentures. Like, I'm here for a denture consult. And she allows the person, like, I mean, it just sounded so crazy, because how do you not say, well, I'm here for dentures. What exactly are you cleaning? My 4 teeth that I have in I mean, I'm assuming this person has, a smaller amount of teeth. Maybe they have teeth, but they're just not good in the roots. I don't know. They didn't disclose how many teeth they have left. But it's just common sense. And then the hygienist, how are you cleaning somebody's mouth and you see that they got little broken teeth or missing teeth, or their teeth are wobbling and loose? Like, it sounded like comical. It sounded like a skit. And then she says that after the hygienist did whatever, then she made recommendations and said, maybe she needs to get her mouth scaled and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but she's not a dentist. What does she know about scaling gums? Then says the hygienist tries to upsell her on a dental brush, a rotating dental brush, mouthwashes, all this garbage. And she's just like saying, no, thank you. Then the dentist comes in and says, okay, well, you definitely need dentures, blah, blah, blah. And when he's talking, he immediately jumps into the high price stuff. We're talking implants, multi-tooth implants, not just hybrids, but, he first talks about the best ones that you can go with, then goes down to hybrids, or then down to just on the bottoms. And conventional dentures are never spoken of. But she says the content creator, that's not true of the content creator's content. Okay. So she brings up to the dentist, well, I was interested in conventional dentures, but with, like, I don't know if they do porcelain teeth in regular dentures. I don't know. I don't look into stuff unless I'm buying something. Like, I don't know what they got out there. Or maybe they were Ivoclar teeth. I don't know, fancy teeth. Like, not Aspen Dental teeth, right? And the dentist tells her, oh, well, we are no longer really doing that service because, and how he put it to her was that because they're so bad for the person, that his practice is only going to be doing implant-based dentures, whether it's full mouth of implants, partials, hybrids, snap-in, snap-on, clapper, whatever the fuck is going on. And she didn't know what to do, and she was like, well, I thought that I could get conventionals, blah, blah, blah. He then basically says, okay, nice meeting you. This is what my assessment is, and sends her out to go talk to the salesperson, basically. And I'm like, oh my God, this sounds like Aspen. Like, are you sure you didn't go to Aspen? I know she didn't, because she gave me the dental practice website. And at which point, again, they didn't talk to her about conventional dentures. And we're just talking about the pricing, price point. And it got into all kinds of stuff. She sent me the paperwork from the scope of work. Very, very costly. And ultimately, she left there deflated, defeated, and in no better position regarding her mouth than where she started. And like I said, I have tried to condense this as best as I can with my beanie brain, but it was a very lengthy email. And I'm not making fun of the email because I was hot. That's why, like, even now, the more I talk about it, I'm hot about this. Meaning, not hot to trot, meaning hot, I'm upset that this is still happening for consumers. And this is why I'm an advocate for you guys to be your best advocate. Be the most informed consumer that you can possibly be. Aside from a dental office, I've been in several situations myself where health and wellness practices do a lot of hard, what they call upselling. Chiropractic offices, they are notorious upsellers. Naturopaths, so people who do like a more natural way of dealing with medical issues, or an Eastern way of dealing with medical issues, they do a lot of upselling. Cosmetic, like dermatologists, not like dermatologists, like what do they call them? There's a name for that. Like, you know, like beauty bars. But they always have a doctor on staff, but ultimately it's just a bunch of people who get certifications that are doing these dental, they're doing these medical procedures, peels, Botox, whatever. And they do a lot of upselling too. They upsell you. Listen, even my podiatrist. So, you know, I'm diabetic. I got to go to a podiatrist. My podiatrist upsells in their office. They have like this shelf full of like different urea creams and blah, blah, blah. My dermatologist gives me a prescription for urea that's covered through my insurance. Why would I pay for it? But nonetheless, it's becoming standard practice across the board to see a lot of upselling. Okay, so as consumers, you have to be prepared for that and know that you're not going to, just because you're going to a medical practice, what I try to tell, like what I tell my kid, and this is for somebody who's worked in sales and marketing pretty much most of her career. All of my roles have been in some type of sales-ish or have sales attached to it in some way, shape, or form, right? Even if you're an account manager, there are sales involved in account management. When you go into a medical practice that's like that, like a chiropractor, like a dental office, like, you know, whatever, view them as a car dealership, okay? Everybody, like car dealerships you're stigmatized with like, they are just garbage, bottom level, bottom feeders from the time that you grew up in your household, right? Okay, so then take that mindset and apply that to when you're dealing with dental offices, okay? There's no difference. I can go on my yellow pages for my dental offices. Hey, you guys see Lammy? Lammy! Hi! Hi! See how she looked at me? Look at her. She's like, what is she doing? Sorry, I squirreled. I can go and look up any of my dentists in my, let's say in the city, like, so I live rural, but there's obviously a big city where I live. And most of these dental offices, the private dental offices, they're only open 3 or 4 days a week. Tell me, how is that? How can you sustain yourself only being open 3 or 4 days a week? You're not naturally wealthy. It's because of that business model that they have. You got to remember, dental services, unless you have like Medicaid or Medicare, those of us that have conventional insurance through our employers, the dental aspect is really minimal. It's marginal coverage. You may have like a total for the year of coverage. I mean, if I say you get $4,000, like that is generous. Typically right now the median is between $2,000 to $2,500 based on how big your employer is. And so that's your total amount of coverage, and then you have like the negotiated rates. So something I've talked about in previous videos is if you have insurance get to know your insurance, get to understand your insurance. And if you don't, call that 800 number and get somebody on the phone and tell them, say, listen, I don't understand what I'm reading on your website and I need you to walk me through it like I'm a 2-year-old. You can put in a service. So let's say a root canal. And then you put in the dentist, like you put in your zip code, and it's going to give you a list of dentists. And you can see that dentists that may only be a few miles apart may have a several $100 difference between what they charge for services. And why is that? It's because the dental practice negotiates what rates they will charge the insurance when they apply to be essentially a carrier of the insurance. So in order for someone to accept your insurance, they have to make an application. The application goes through a really lengthy process. It normally takes about a year-ish, depending on the area, in order for them to say, yes, we accept Cigna, or yes, we accept Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's not like they can just sign up and accept insurance and start billing insurance. It doesn't work like that. It's a very arduous, lengthy process. And in that process, they have to negotiate what they're going to charge the insurance. So you may see a dentist, and I've talked about this before, you may see a dentist who charges $300 for, I don't know, well, I'm just going to keep saying root canal. I'm not saying that's a finite or a correct amount. One dentist may charge $300 per tooth for a root canal. 5 miles down the road, this dentist may only charge $200. And it's nothing more. It's the demographic. Yeah, it could be because it's in a bad neighborhood, but it also could just be because that dentist wants to attract more revenue by having more clients and therefore has agreed to a lower rate to attract those clients. That's assuming that clients are educating themselves and getting on their insurer's website and knowing what they're covered for and what they're not covered for. Okay, so that's the first thing. Like, know what your coverages are. The second thing is 3 consults. That's my rule across the board. 3 consults from 3 various practices is my rule. That's a beanie rule. You can do 2. You can settle on 1. But I'm telling you, if you want to have peace of mind, you're going to go and meet with 3 different dentists or 3 different types of practice, like a private practice, maybe a dental clinic, and then like an Aspen or an Affordable Dentures, so that you're more in the know about what's available. Calling in advance. Call these practices in advance. Ask whatever questions you have. And don't be afraid. If you get somebody who's not interested in talking to you or seems like they're not knowledgeable, you can ask to speak to somebody else or just hang up and call back on another day. If your teeth are shit, it doesn't matter if you're going to go to the dentist tomorrow or 2 weeks from now or 2 months from now, right? It's not like my situation where I waited so long and then we're in the middle of a pandemic where nobody's open and I'm worried that I'm going to be displaced from my job, and how am I going to go and interview with a new job with a missing, you know, like I would put myself in an awful situation, but I'm digressing. The first thing I'm going to say is this. A majority of people on social media are on social media for a reason, okay? I mean, it's called social media marketing for a reason. That's what social media is. Like, we've now adopted a new identity for social media, meaning that social media, oh, it's just a place where everybody gets together. It's it's just a place where everybody goes. But it's originated as social media marketing, and it's still that. The crux that most people who are coming on and creating content are doing so with an agenda, and that agenda is either to generate revenue by having just a larger social media presence, or the route that most people want is they are looking to generate revenue by brand partnerships. So that can translate to those that are, promoting certain dental offices. And in addition to promoting that dental office, well, then maybe they're getting a kickback of how many people come and actually get services there. Maybe they're getting 3%, 5%, 10%. It's whatever their contract that they've negotiated. Or maybe part of the social media marketing is that they're not getting any cut of everybody that's a referral, but what they are getting is free dental services. Like, who knows? Who knows and who cares? What your job is as a consumer is to compartmentalize the information that you're receiving on social media as only one part of the conversation. You still have a responsibility to do your own due diligence and to know 95% of the time, if you're seeing referrals, there's something tied to that referral. And even if you look online and there's reviews, read between the lines of the reviews. It's very easy to determine fugazi reviews versus earnest reviews. I mean, sometimes negative reviews are also just like, they're frivolous. And so you have to look at the context of the review. But back to this person, you know, when in her email where she says, well, you know, she felt like she couldn't just walk out of the office because it was a referral from this content creator. What is this content creator? Your mom? Is it your mama? Because if it's not, you don't owe this person nothing. Who gives a shit? Maybe it'll tell this dental office, you've got to readjust yourself and stop these high pressure tactics. I can go on a majority of dental websites, you guys, and look at any dental office, and they'll have tabs on different procedures, and there's always a tab for dentures. And they will talk just about denture specifics, you know, just about generalization things about how it's important to at least get dentures if you have bad teeth, blah, blah, blah. And then there's always an upsell. There's always an upsell to the expensive procedures because they are a revenue generated business. It behooves them to sell you the more expensive process. Not only is the initial process more expensive, but the upkeep is more expensive. Now, yes, is there anything saying that if you got implants at a dental office, you're going to continue to use that dental office? Well, that's the hope. But even still, they're still going to get a big chunk of money for that initial investment of the implants. Then you have the maintenance of the implants. And depending on the kind of implants you have, you're supposed to be going to the dentist. My understanding is every 3 months, every 6 months, get them pulled out, cleaned underneath, da, 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 da. Whereas with conventional dentures, you go once a year. You should be going once a year. Get your choppers checked, make sure they're good. Maybe get a liner put in if necessary. Get your gums checked, get your mouth checked. And that's it, you're done. It's a wrap. Once a year. But ultimately, they're going to push this larger service on you. So if you as a consumer know this and know that that's not something that you're able to afford or something that you want to afford, or it's not a lengthy process that you want to go into with getting bone grafts and all that, then you have to be firm on that. So what I'm trying to say is, writer, you didn't do anything wrong. And I get what you were saying in your email. And what I would love to see for you is to become empowered as a consumer and be okay with saying no. If consumers go into the dental process knowing high upsells, it's going to come. If you know they're coming, it's a lot easier to boop, boop, deflect. I'm not interested. Now, one thing I'll tell you too, I don't want to say, oh, I can hear the Amazon man. They're scanning packages. Sorry, guys. They're scanning packages to throw them on my porch. I can hear his little, I hope he doesn't ring the bell. If you go into a dental practice knowing that upselling is most likely going to come your way, you have a better way of being able to reject the upsells. One thing I'll say, I don't want to say don't say, but how I would not say is never say, like if they're offering you this option of, let's say, of implants, right? To say, oh, well, I can't afford the implants. When you say I can't afford implants, guess what they're going to do? You've now opened the door for them to show you how you can afford implants by getting care credit. They get a kickback for everybody who signs up for Care Credit in their office. They're getting a kickback from Care Credit, whether you get approved for the credit or not. And if they tell you they're not, they're liars. They are. They're going to get a kickback for anybody who applies for Care Credit. So if you get approved for the Care Credit and use the Care Credit, then their commission is higher. But for everybody who applies, you're going to get it. I don't let anybody, my credit is locked down. I have a freeze on all 3 of my credit reports. I'm not pulling my credit for nobody, and unless I absolutely have to. So if you say, I can't afford implants, they're going to show you a way that you can afford implants. And even if they don't refer you to Care Credit, but they offer you in-house credit, you know, with the dental office, which is something that my daughter's orthodontist did, you know, like 15 years ago. They did their own in-house. If you say I can't afford it, they're going to show you a way that you can afford it. And the truth is that that doesn't mean you can afford it. They're just showing a way for you to make payments. But you're going to end up paying interest. We can get into a whole other thing about that. So instead of saying, I can't afford implants, you just say, implants are not in my budget. So when you say implants are not in my budget, know that they may retort and say, well, what's your budget? Very few dentists are going to do that because they're not going to expect you to say, it's not in my budget. They expect people to say, I can't afford it. But if you say, oh, you know, I would love to get them, but they're not in my budget, or I have not planned for this in my budget, and leave it at that. And then for you as a consumer, in deciding, I can play devil's advocate for every single thing in this world. I can play devil's advocate about the pros and cons of this lotion. I can. So we can play pros and cons about conventional dentures, hybrid dentures, implant dentures, till we're blue in the face. But if you never stepped on social media and watched 1,000 different people talk about their 1,000 different specific experiences with dentures, you would only know what you know, right? But every time you watch a video, you're allowing somebody to influence your perception of a situation. So if you hear, and it's just human nature that this happens, okay? If you hear someone talk about their experience with getting conventional dentures and that their bottoms never fit right and blah, 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 that little seed stays in your head. Bottoms didn't fit right. Bottoms didn't fit right. Oh, they got conventional dentures, but they ended up having to get implants anyways. Somebody else's story is not your story. Just like with me when I talk about Aspen. Just because I had a shit experience at Aspen, that doesn't mean every single person will have a shit experience at Aspen. I have a few viewers who have had lovely experiences with Aspen Dental. The lovely experiences are definitely overshadowed by people who have had shitty experiences, but they're there nonetheless. So when I talk about my experiences, it's just me talking about my experience. If you look at my response to most comments, I'll say, listen, my experience is not your experience, or you may not have this experience, but you should know about it so that you can be prepared. If this arises, how can you respond? Because a lot of times if we're responding from a stress level or an anxiety level, we're making decisions that we may not make when we've been more prepared or when we're in a calmer state of mind. Does that make sense? So if you educate yourself on, this is what I want, this is how much I'm willing to spend, this is how much time I'm willing to invest, go through all the things, then when you go into a dental office and you have Dr. Slick Pants who wants to upsell you, or the dental hygienist who is hygiening your mouth that has 4 teeth in it, you're able to respond instead of being shocked and stunned and not know what to say. Does this make sense at all? I hope I'm making sense. Like, this is where I'm telling you guys, like, even anything I say, don't just take what I say. Do your research. Set a plan up for yourself, okay? And that will allow you to navigate these uncomfortable, I'm sorry, my candle is, I'm not picking boogies, you guys. My candle is itching my noi. It will allow you to navigate these uncomfortable situations better. When you're reading dental websites, look for key marketing. A lot of it's marketing. Dental practices are notorious upsellers. Why? Again, the more expensive, I'll never forget getting all these freaking crowns and all these root canals done on my teeth, only to have them fail. And I'm thinking that was $8 grand I could have saved off the skitty, you know. But they're gonna upsell you. They're gonna upsell you, and they're gonna upsell you not with the hopes that you're gonna remain a loyal. It's not like it was years ago where you went to the same dentist for 20 years or the same family doctor for 20 years, and they relied on that loyalty factor. There's no loyalty anymore. There's very few instances where there is mass consumer loyalty. So they don't care about that. It's just the upfront money and what's coming out. And if you come back, you do or you don't, who cares? They just got 30 grand out of you. If you didn't hear 15 different stories of people's implants and whatever, would you be okay with conventional dentures? The likelihood is yes. Before social media, how many people were okay with conventional dentures? A whole shit ton. Even when their bottoms didn't fit right, they were more accepting of that. Why? Because you didn't know there was 15 other options out there. And so sometimes, what happened? Oh, she got the boogies. Get it. What happened? She's looking at me. So she's sitting next to my sewing cutting desk, and I have cotton over there. And I'm almost positive she got cotton up in her little nose. She'll be fine. Anyways. I'm really passionate about this. Like, don't be bullied as consumers. When you hear other people having failures with conventional dentures, does that mean you're going to have a failure with conventional dentures? No. Does that mean that you can't get implants later down the road? No, it doesn't. If so what? You'll have the conventional dentures and then you go through the implant process if that's the way that you feel you need to go. Does everybody have crappy bottoms? No, not everybody has crappy bottoms. Everybody's experience is going to be different. And going into social media, be okay with knowing that what somebody says only affects you superficially in terms of if they're trying to sell you a product. If they're trying to sell you a product or sell you a service, think about the why. Okay? So with this person's case, she was influenced by this person having this doctor or this dentist come on and, talk about all the good things they do. And it's marketing. It's marketing. They successfully did exactly what they wanted to do, and they got you to come into the office. They got you to come into the office. And they were successful because you felt guilty that you wanted to leave the office because somehow you felt obligated to this social media content creator that you don't even know. They're not your friends. They don't pay your taxes. All I'm trying to say, friends, is allow your denture experience to be your experience. Use social media to educate yourself. Sure, because I think there's tons of content out there that is valuable content. But learn to read between the lines. Learn to see the bullshit. Learn to see the sales. Sometimes it's so obvious. And then sometimes you're not so, you're like, are they selling something? Are they not selling something? Let's just work on the assumption that everybody's trying to sell something, right? Are they selling a quality product? Great. That's not a problem. That's not a problem if somebody's upselling you a product, but it's a quality product, right? And if they're getting a kickback from the Amazon or they're getting a kickback from the doctor for bringing a quality product to you, That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're feeling you're obligated to get dental services that you can't afford, or you feel bamboozled, or they sold you an idea of going into a dental office was going to be like going to a medi spa, and you got there and it was more like going to, you know, the Hojo. Well, you know, listen, also take that and put it in perspective. They were selling you something. It's like going to a car dealership. That's the best way I can say it. It's like going to a car dealership. So now you've gone through this experience, right? What are you going to do with the next one, right? You have to be more informed as a consumer. Learn what your insurance covers and what your insurance doesn't cover. Go and look what dentists participate for your insurance. Go on your dental website for your insurer. Look at the different rates that the dentists provide. Then go ahead and do your Google searches on these dentists. And you're going to see probably good and bad. You're not going to get cosmetic, you know, Hollywood stars dental treatment at 123 Main Street. Okay, this is not going to happen. You're not putting out the money. There is a financial give and take in order to get certain things, but you have to decide, is like being pampered when you walk in the office more important than the integrity of the office? The office, when you literally say, I want conventional dentures but with high quality teeth, and they say, well, we don't want to offer you high quality conventional dentures at all because we've determined that they're not good for consumers. No, they've determined it's not good for their business model, for their bottom line. You know, like, I know it's 30 minutes of talking about this, and I probably talked in circles, but I'm really passionate about this. I'm really passionate. Like, you guys have to take ownership and be okay with the decisions you make. There's nothing wrong with conventional dentures. Yeah, everybody. I was planning on going to Korea and getting me some implants, and that didn't work out for me. Then pandemic happened, and then illness happened, and I was glad that I didn't spend that money for implants, and I'm okay with conventional dentures. I've been so okay with conventional dentures that I have not felt the need to go and get further consults for implants, and it's been 4 years. Now, would that change down the road? Maybe. I don't know, but right now I'm good. I'm good. Remember, you're going to see good and bad on social media. And remember, those people's experiences are not necessarily indicative of your experiences. Think about what you can afford now. What can you afford a year from now? What can you afford 5 years from now? And most people will be like, well, I'm not even thinking about that. Well, think about that. Because if you're getting yourself in a financial situation with implants now, there is a higher, you know, a higher rate of investment also as time goes on, higher in, you know, rate of repair. If you're okay with it, if you are a 2-income family and your husband makes a fat income or your wife makes a fat income and money's not an object, well then, hey, do you. But most of the people that reach out to Beanie on Beanie's channel are not in that situation. They're not in that situation. And that is primarily the people who get taken advantage of the most on social media. And it doesn't matter if it's about denture products. It doesn't matter if it's about MLM marketing. It doesn't matter if it's about health and wellness and nutrition. It's always the people that don't have the latitude to financially lose money who are the subject to falling victim to social media marketing. So anyways, it's been a long-winded email. Writer, I hope I helped. If not, you can call me. I put my number in the email that I'm about to send you. And if you guys have any questions or concerns, you guys know the email address. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, or advice for that email writer, put it in the comments box. We're a supportive community here. Share your experiences, share your, you know, maybe not so good experiences and how you had to work through it through your dentures. But this is an all-inclusive supportive network that we have here at Beanie Unscripted. And this stuff gets me fired up. It gets me fired up. But I'll talk to you guys soon.